Montclair State University. So I'd like to ask your opinion on direct democracy and also about what the role of students is in decision making here at the school.
Let me begin with the role of students and come back to the more philosophical issue. The role of students is established primarily through the Student Government Association, in which body, elected body, is a representative body that is meant to be structured very similar to representative governments in the states and at the national level. That's the model of it. And in universities across the country, that has generally been the model for student participation. That is buttressed by the role that students play in their individual organizations, clubs, and associations, where they get together and they do certain things. And in those clubs and organizations, they often have a direct relationship with the administration around the issues that they particularly care about. In addition, at Montclair State University and the other public four-year institutions in New Jersey, students have 2 seats on the Board of Trustees, and those 2 are elected seats. They're representative of the student population. In fact, I see one of your elected student representatives to the Board of Trustees, Alec Pushkov, right there. And they have a role to they participate in the important committees of the board, and they sit at the board, and one of the students has a voting role. Oh, the philosophical question. Okay, the philosophical question. I have to admit that I'm not convinced about the philosophy of direct democracy. Is, as I understand it to be, a leaderless will all decide together. I happen to be, I think, more attuned to what you might call traditional style of democracy, of representative government that is led. I happen to think that large groups of people basically need leaders, good leaders, leaders with integrity. And I think that having leaders is not necessarily a bad thing. I do also believe that the group needs to be engaged citizens. That is, it's not good to have leaders and a disaffected citizenry, people who say, oh, well, whatever, let them do it. I do think that the fact that there is a representative government or a structure of leadership in government doesn't relieve people of their responsibility as citizens to engage actively in decision-making and policy discussion, and to make their views known and to be participating in that process.
Lisa?
I don't think I'm allowed to call on you.
Okay. Well, I just had
I'm not the leader.
Okay, I just had a question about SGA. Being that I don't know, is there any other grad student in this room? Probably not.
Are you a graduate student?
Yes, ma'am.
In what field?
Music therapy.
Music therapy, excellent field.
Yes, thank you. I have a question about student representation for the grad students, and as far as SGA is concerned, are there any representatives for that population? Because it is under my impression that there is not, and that is also another extension of the student populace that needs to be addressed, because these are, as I am understanding by society standards, masters is basically, I hate using this lingo, the new bachelors. And you know, that is very important, and I feel that maybe the reason why graduates are not involved in this a little more is because there is no representation. So therefore, you know, if someone doesn't make the first step, then there's nobody for them to follow, and then they don't feel like they're represented, and therefore don't make their voice known. So I wanted to know, what is the graduate student's role in SGA?
Okay, that is a very, I don't think they have a role. Do they, Alex, are they in the SGA?
I was actually going to clarify, in the SGA they do not. but that falls under the role of the Board of Trustees. And so that is where the graduate students are represented. Because the office of the Board of Trustees, I think, isn't as engaging, for example, as the Student Government Association. Like, we don't do programming and things like that, which is under the administration. I feel like that's why a lot of the graduate population maybe doesn't even know or forgets that we are there for them. And we definitely, hear their voice and represent them.
But let me also, go ahead.
The SGA is an incorporated body, as you know. It's a separate corporation apart from the university. And its incorporation charter is only for undergraduate students. And so you, as a graduate student, for instance, do not pay a fee for those things. Now, there have been, from time to time, in my time here, there have been some very active graduate school associations.
That's just what I was.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
There has been, but unfortunately, you're here for 2 years, you graduate, and then nobody picks it up again.
Right.
But I would, the graduate school is always looking for students to be involved.
Right, as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, there was a very active graduate student association. And a group of graduate students came to me, very much like you are coming to me tonight, and said, can we get involved? Can we have an association? Can we get together? And I said, sure, and they did. And they met with me a couple of times a year, and they were very active, but then they graduated and it didn't sustain itself. So if you want to try and do it again, you should.
Okay, sorry, I don't mean to cut anyone off,
That's
but
right.
we do have 2 more questions we need to ask in this topic, and we only have 1 minute left. We
Sorry.
have a little bit over a minute, because I started late, but. Where are we at?